Today's Midday Kentucky Cooking segment brought to you by Creative Kitchen and Bath, where you will always cook in style.
Welcome back to Midday Kentucky. Chef Allison Davis here at Wild Time Cooking, and we are kind of doing a part 2 from a earlier recipe that I have on our website, which we talked about how to break down a chicken. And I actually have some chicken here that we are pan searing. We're going to talk about pan searing, and we are also going to be making a pan sauce where we are going to take the drippings and talk about deglazing and a lot of just classic culinary technique here. But first I want to talk about the chicken. The first thing I did was take raw chicken with the skin on, and we have been searing that in a pan with a little bit of oil, salt, and pepper. You really don't need much oil, especially if you have the skin on with the chicken, because you are going to render some fat from that chicken itself. What I'm looking for is a little bit of a sear that's going to start to climb and kind of come around the edge. So what you will see is where it starts to brown right around the bottom, and that is an indication you have a beautiful sear all the way around. I believe in the one flip method, which means we are only going to be flipping this guy one time. So the longer this sits, the better the sear and the browner, richer the color is going to be on our chicken. All right, so let's turn this guy over and kind of see where we're at. Do you see where we've nicely browned the skin and we've got a golden brown? You notice I have a little bit of salt and pepper on the chicken, which means I seasoned it with some salt and pepper before we added it to the pan. That helps to just give it a little bit of a crust. And you guys, also, this is just so crisp that it's really going to be really nice cutting into and giving a little bit of a texture to the chicken as well. Okay, last, I'm going to flip this guy over and just look at that. Those three are beautiful. Now, I don't finish my chicken on the stove. You certainly could, but what I'm going to do is put it on a sheet tray, and we're going to finish this guy in the oven. That way it allows us to be able to make our sauce while the chicken is finishing up in the oven. All right, so we'll take this off. We're going to put this chicken in the oven, and then we're going to use all of this stuff that you might think is just browned or burned or waste. It truly is not. This is the best stuff. This, in the culinary terms, is called the fond, what is left over after you've seared. I'm going to take this chicken, pop it in the oven. I typically will roast at around 375 to 400, and we want to make sure that we cook the chicken all the way to about 165 degrees. All right, now that our chicken has cooked, we're going to make our pan sauce. What I like to start with is just a little bit of onion and garlic, and then we're going to saute this just till it's softened, and then we'll start to add in some fresh herbs. This is very similar to a, say, chicken masala. All right, so we've got our garlic going in, we have our sauteed onions, and then the fond or the drippings that are in our pan, right? We'll start to saute that just a little bit, and then I'm going to show you what's going to happen. All right, we're going to just start to see a little bit of that fond and the drippings browning in the pan. We're just sauteing the onions a bit until they're translucent. All right, but don't worry about those bits that are stuck on the bottom of the pan. What's going to happen now is we are going to deglaze. We're going to deglaze our pan with a little bit of white wine. All right, the white wine, the liquid, is what's going to take those drippings and the brown bits that are right here in the pan, if you guys can see that, and it's going to deglaze and bring those drippings right back into the sauce. All right? So just simply by doing that, all of that deglazing is going to happen, and all of that's going to work back into our sauce. Very French method here. Instead of chopping up our herbs, we're just going to infuse it and throw in just some fresh whole herbs and just let those work. I've got a little rosemary, or oregano, thyme, and salt and pepper. Lastly, after this simmers and starts to reduce, we'll add a little bit of butter, and you can find this recipe, and we will have all of this together on our recipes tab page at WTVQ.com. Click on that recipes tab, and I hope you enjoy this at home. We'll be right back after the short break.